Have you ever wondered how pirates lived during the Golden Age? Today, we'll embark on a journey back in time to explore this fascinating era. A time often romanticized in novels and films, the Golden Age of Piracy spanned roughly from 1650 to 1720. This was the era of buccaneers and privateers, the daring, the ruthless, and the cunning. It was a time of swashbuckling adventures, high-seas hijinks, and treasure beyond imagination. In this video, we'll delve into the realities of pirates' lives during this era, stripping away the myths to reveal the truth. We'll explore their lifestyles, their thrilling adventures, and the harsh realities they faced. We'll introduce you to some of the most notorious pirates and their legendary deeds and how their reign came to an end. So buckle up your boots as we set sails to the high seas and the world of pirates. The Golden Age didn't just suddenly appear. It resulted from a series of events. What were they? Well, let's start at the beginning. The late 17th and early 18th centuries marked a time of global conflict and economic struggle. Particularly the War of Spanish Succession, which ended in 1713, left thousands of sailors and privateers unemployed. These were men who had honed their skills in the brutal conditions of naval warfare, but now found themselves without a means to make a living. In the wake of the war, many of these sailors turned to piracy. It wasn't a decision made lightly, but the alternatives were grim. Steeped in poverty and with few opportunities, many of these men felt they had no other choice. But it wasn't just desperation that drove these men to piracy. There was also an allure of wealth and freedom that proved too enticing to resist. The Spanish colonies in the Americas were flourishing, their ships laden with gold, silver, and other valuable goods. These treasures were transported across the vast and often unprotected expanse of the Atlantic Ocean, making them easy pickings for those daring enough to take the risk. Moreover, the lack of effective naval force in the Caribbean provided a safe haven for pirates, where they could hide out and plan their next raid. The pirates thrived in this lawless environment, developing their own codes of conduct and forming alliances. They were no longer just disparate groups of sailors, they were becoming a force to be reckoned with. This was also a time of exploration and adventure. The New World was still largely uncharted, its mysteries and treasures beckoning to those with a spirit of adventure. The pirates were not just criminals, they were explorers charting their own course through the vast and unknown seas. So, there you have it. The end of a war, the lure of wealth, the promise of adventure, and a safe haven in the Caribbean all converged to create the perfect storm. Unemployed sailors, armed with skills and a desire for a better life, turned to piracy. With these circumstances, a new era dawned, the Golden Age of Piracy. Now that we understand how it all started, what was life like for these sea robbers? Imagine a life of unpredictability, where the ocean's whim dictates your day. That was the life of a pirate during the Golden Age. As they navigated the high seas, their daily routine was shaped by the elements. When not in combat or on the hunt for treasure, pirates were responsible for maintaining their ship. This involved tasks like repairing sails, scrubbing decks, and ensuring the cannons were ready for battle. Life on board a pirate ship was not for the faint-hearted. Pirates slept where they could find a spot, often among cannons and supplies. Food was often scarce and consisted of hardtack, a type of dry biscuit, and salted or pickled meat. Fresh water was a luxury, often replaced by rum or grog, but it wasn't all hardship. Pirates shared a strong bond of camaraderie. They were more than just shipmates, they were a brotherhood. They laughed, gambled, and told tales of their exploits around the fire. This bond was vital, for in the face of danger, trust and loyalty were paramount. Perhaps what's most intriguing about pirate life is their democratic system, a rarity in the 17th and 18th centuries. The captain was elected by the crew and could be deposed if they were dissatisfied with his leadership. Decisions about where to sail, who to attack, and how to divide the spoils were often made collectively. And then there was the pirate code. Contrary to popular belief, pirates were not entirely lawless. They lived by a set of rules, a code of conduct that governed their behavior. These rules varied from ship to ship, but generally included provisions for fair distribution of loot, compensation for injuries, and penalties for crimes like theft or desertion. While they were outlaws, pirates had an organized and democratic system that surprised many. Among the sea of pirates, some names shone brighter than others. Who were they? Let's delve into the tales of two notorious pirates who made a name for themselves during the Golden Age of Piracy. First, we have Edward Teach, more popularly known as Blackbeard. Blackbeard was an imposing figure standing tall with a thick black beard that gave him his infamous nickname. But it wasn't just his appearance that struck fear into the hearts of those who crossed his path. It was his ruthless tactics. Blackbeard was known to tie slow-burning fuses into his beard, lighting them during battles to create a terrifying image of a demon shrouded in smoke and fire. His ship, the Queen Anne's Revenge, was a force to be reckoned with, boasting 40 guns and a crew of over 300 men. Next we have William Captain Kidd. Unlike Blackbeard, Kidd started his maritime career as a privateer, a pirate sanctioned by the government to attack enemy ships during wartime. However, a turn of events saw him accused of turning rogue and engaging in unsanctioned piracy. The most notorious of his deeds was the capture of the Quedagh Merchant, a ship laden with valuable cargo. Kidd's capture of this ship marked him as a wanted pirate, leading to his eventual arrest and trial. Both Blackbeard and Kidd met violent ends. Blackbeard was killed in a bloody battle with the Royal Navy, his head hung from the bow of a ship as a gruesome trophy. Kidd, on the other hand, was hanged for piracy in London, his body left to rot in a cage as a warning to others. These notorious figures left an indelible mark on the pages of history. They embodied the lawlessness and freedom of the Golden Age of Piracy, their names forever etched into the annals of maritime lore. Whether they are remembered as ruthless outlaws or romanticized rebels, one thing is certain: their stories continue to captivate us centuries after their final voyages. All good things come to an end, and so did the Golden Age, but how? The Golden Age of Piracy wasn't destined to last forever. It was a period of lawlessness and freedom, but as the world began to change, so too did the fortunes of these notorious sea marauders. One of the significant factors that led to the decline was the strengthening of naval forces. Countries, tired of the chaos and disorder, began investing heavily in their navies. Spain, England, and France, among others, bolstered their fleets with larger and more heavily armed ships. These formidable forces patrolled the seas, ready to hunt down any pirate vessels and bring their occupants to justice. Then, there was the end of legal privateering. During the height of the Golden Age, governments would commission privateers, essentially legal pirates, to plunder enemy ships during wartime. But as the wars ended and peace treaties were signed, there was no longer a need for these services. The line between privateer and pirate blurred, and soon all piracy was outlawed. Many former privateers found themselves out of work, and without the protection of their governments, they were easy targets for the strengthened naval forces. Lastly, the increasing difficulty of finding treasure played a significant role in the downfall. As the colonies became more established and secure, there were fewer opportunities for pirates to seize valuable goods. Treasure fleets became better protected, and the golden bounty that once flowed freely started to dry up. In essence, the world was evolving, and the Golden Age of Piracy was a casualty of this progress. The seas were becoming more regulated, the opportunities for plunder were dwindling, and the penalties for piracy were becoming more severe. The risks began to outweigh the rewards, and slowly but surely, the pirate's life lost its allure. With these factors, the sun set on the Golden Age of Piracy. The Golden Age might be over, but its impact still resonates. How does it influence us today? The Golden Age of Piracy, a tumultuous but thrilling period, has left an indelible mark on our world. Its influence is most visible in the way we perceive pirates, not as the ruthless marauders they were, but as swashbuckling adventurers. This romanticized image has colored our books, our films, and our folklore. From Robert Louis Stevenson's Treasure Island to the blockbuster franchise Pirates of the Caribbean, the Golden Age has shaped our literary and cinematic landscapes. These stories, though far removed from the harsh realities of pirate life, capture the spirit of freedom and rebellion that the Golden Age embodied. They remind us of a time when the world was a vast, uncharted mystery, and the open seas beckoned with promises of fortune and fame. Even though centuries have passed, the echoes of the Golden Age of Piracy still captivate our imagination today.